Thank you very much. So I'm going to describe a few things today. Is the current activities of the autonomous vehicles, what over the world the people are doing, and of course going to update you what Singapore is doing, because there are a lot of news about the current autonomous vehicle activities in Singapore. And basically I'll just describe what is the technology, what is the opportunities that we have for the autonomous vehicles technology. So this is basically what I reckon for the automotive technology right now as a real product. That's been like a technology that really can runs in the real world. Currently we are here. So we are actually a bit past of the hybrid vehicles and electric vehicles, because it starts to run everywhere right now, right? And now we are looking in terms of the connected vehicles or intelligence vehicles. You can see more and more vehicles that have functions like telematics. They have advanced intelligence for pre-warning when the anti-collision avoidance. And this is what we think for autonomous vehicles. Of course, in the near future, the vehicles will be about level 4, fully autonomous vehicles. But what I think the usage of the autonomous vehicles will be, eventually it will be more the mobilities on demands. And that's why you can see is that Uber or Google, they actually put in a lot of money for the autonomous vehicles, because mobilities on demands for autonomous vehicles, that's where they are able to get 100% revenues, because they do not need to pay for the driver. Sad to say that, but that's basically the future. So this is basically what I reckon. If you ask me in maybe 50 years time, how will autonomous vehicles replace everything? I think no. So basically humans still likes to drive. So this basically represents the sales of the vehicles right now. But I foresee that by 2030, that's where the sales of the vehicles are still there. So basically there's revenue there. But what do you think, what is the new disruptive revenues in the automotive industries is the mobilities on demands. There's been like in autonomous vehicles, I think people in urban environment don't mind not to own a car and basically use the apps to call an autonomous vehicles and drive them around. And this is basically the disruptive technologies that comes to bring in the revenues. And if you talk about the implementations of autonomous vehicle technology in terms of the timeline, in terms of traditional car manufacturers, they always think that the technology of autonomous vehicles will come maybe much more later, which is the fully autonomous or conditional autonomous, because if you all have not been in the automotive industries, simple technologies like airbag or anti-braking system, it takes them about 15 years before they approve it and basically put it as products. But if you talk about autonomous vehicles, it's a full software and hardware integrations. That's where they reckon that is here, because of certain problems like regulatory challenges, more reliable technology solutions, consumer acceptance. But interestingly, what Singapore has done is that, or maybe other countries like US and Japan, is we are trying to push that disruptive technology, right? We try to implement public trial in Singapore. Even beside NTU, there's a C-Trans that's doing for AV test bed. So what we are trying to do is that we're going to push the technologies and the regulations out, so that the autonomous vehicles implementations will come in terms of exponential form. That's where we try to draw the out time of the autonomous vehicles to be nearer. And that's why a lot of people are trying to play the catch-up game right now, the autonomous vehicles. You know, usually they are mechanical engineers, so they are trying very hard to basically catch up with the software people like the Google or the Uber. So this is what we reckon. And around the activities around the world, this is what's happening right now. So Google, they have like 24 Lexus vehicles roaming around. There's 34 prototypes vehicles like this going around in each state. They are trying to claim the knowledge, get a lot of possibilities as much as possible, and then tries to overcome that so that it's safe enough for the vehicles to implement in the world. Uber, as you know, as I explained, why they invest so much in autonomous vehicles is that is the only time that they're able to get the 100% revenue. So about last week, I asked how much does Uber charge every time for the apps for the driver. It's about 20 to 30%. So you see, it's not much for them. But with autonomous vehicle technologies, that's where basically they may be able to get the full revenue. And they actually look beyond that. So they actually invested on auto, basically a startup companies, and basically they're looking in the fridge right now. So Singapore, as you can see, as you know, that autonomy is basically implementing the autonomous taxi driving. Delphi is there, and NTU, you guys yourself is looking at the autonomous bus on that. So there's a lot of activities. C-Trans, which is near NTU again, and basically in the public news, there's new requests for information about autonomous glass sweepings, and of course the NTU is looking at the autonomous bus. So basically, I think that there's lots of activities, and very interestingly, NTU is going to have lots of activities on autonomous or self-driving vehicles technologies here. So what is the opportunities for self-driving vehicles? So basically, as you can see, is that a lot of automotive industry have been investing, but there's also a lot of startups that actually create opportunities for themselves. For example, like one of my friends, which is started Cruise back in the US, to the West, actually bought over by GM by $1 billion. And Otto is actually the heading, basically the director is Anthony. Anthony is basically from Google. Actually, he's part of these auto companies, and he bought up by Uber for $680 million. Zoox is another company from the US West Coast. Actually, they raised 200 million, and of course, Autonomy itself is having quite a nice result in Singapore. So not only the automotive industry, not only the startup, the autonomous vehicles create a brand new type of business. What type of business is actually the web cost. So there is a nano degrees by universities in US. Basically, what they do is they give a nano degree course. If you guys are interested, all you need is to pay $800, and basically you can learn how to do self-driving vehicles technologies. Basically the directors is Sebastian Trun. He's the father of autonomous vehicles, so I reckon that the quality is good. But what actually you can see for universities, they also highlight that apparently in US, self-driving car engineers cost about 230K USD per year. I actually presented Intel Picnic last month, and I calculated it's actually 1 million ringgit. That's why I put it there. So apparently it's a very good deal for autonomous vehicles engineers right now. And I foresee there's a lot of other opportunities. Even Google's now have the state-of-the-art technologies, but they still can't overcome everything. For example, this Hamwood is actually extreme weather conditions in the US. It's like a sandstorm. And apparently what Google has done is that if Google vehicles have met this type of conditions, what they have done is they stop the vehicles and wait for the weather to be better, and they proceed on again. But it doesn't mean they don't do anything. What they have done is that when they stop their vehicles, actually all their sensors is collecting the data, and then they see what type of technologies they can use to overcome. So what we see is that there is tons of situations, complex situations that not everybody has solved it. That's why I find that there's a lot of opportunities there. So in Singapore, so what we have done is that I just like to show maybe so this is basically a narrations of how in the future of Singapore is going to be. This basically sourced from Ministry of Transport. You can foresee that what we want in the near future is that we do not want any roads on the surface level. So basically people are able to have more space to live, a livable space, right? And of course maybe just some slow vehicles or last mile solutions vehicles to be around. And what we're going to do is that we're going to put all the public transportations on the second layers, and maybe of course the ground layers is still the MRT stations. So in Singapore, we try to promote zero car ownership. So how we're going to do that? We basically, if we want to encourage that, that means we want people to take on more public transportations. We have to upgrade our technologies so that we can provide easier use of transportations to the people. So autonomous vehicles definitely is one of the ways that we think that it should go, because we want that when people, it's just like Uber, when they use their handphone, says that they want to go to a place, by right there will be like a mobility on demand vehicles, go to right to their doorsteps and bring them to the second levels, and they can travel to a further distance. All the mobilities on demand can bring them anywhere. So that's why in Singapore we actually enforce this autonomous vehicle technology, because we may be the first countries that really able to use autonomous vehicles for real case. Oops. And so my research about 2 years ago, what I'm doing is that we focus on buses. Why we are looking at autonomous buses? A lot of people has been looking at autonomous taxis or autonomous cars, but in Singapore it's pretty unique. What you can see is that even start from 2005, the highest riderships per day in Singapore is basically the buses. And over the 10 years, you can see is that basically there's an increments of 1 million riderships per day. So even at 2014, the bus ridership per day is 3.751 million. While even compared to the MRT station is still more than MRTs. So basically, how can we create a safer means of transportation for the public? Encourage more riderships using technologies, and actually make the transportations more effective. And we foresee that the bus, we have the issues is that of course the accidents. So in Singapore we already have the bus drivers, shortage of bus drivers problems, and every times when there is an accident of the bus, most of the time is because of the driver fatigue or the perceptions failure. So we reckon that basically with autonomous vehicle technologies we are able to solve that issues on that areas. So this is basically 2 years ago. I started with a team of 30 researchers and engineers. So we started to look at the Alpha hybrid. It's a 7-seaters. We like to start with shuttle bus services. So we like to start smaller because 2 years ago we don't have any experience in cars, and that's why we start with the 7-seaters. So what it takes for us to do the autonomous vehicles? Well, it actually started on 2014, and we kickstart with a small electric personal mobility vehicles. We convert the vehicles into a drive-by-wire capable. That means you can able to control the steering wheels and the brake and accelerators. When we done that, we get certain type of experience. We do our software on the Alphas. We are the first team that are able to get the special license from LTA. We get it on 2015 July. So LTAs actually give us a set of tests, and basically we pass that test, and we are able to do a public trial in One North. And follow on that's where Minister Vivian, heading of the Smart Nations, he himself is an engineer. He asked us a lot of tough questions. He tried the vehicles, and he informed Prime Ministers, and Prime Ministers tried our vehicles. So what you see right now is that basically we have a public trial in One North. The reason why is this is a 6 kilometers route. If you can see it right now, actually Mediapolis is functional. There's people moving in right now. So there's a lot of actors and actors there which we like. And what we do is that the problem is like this. In Biopolis, there's MRT stations nearby, which is the Buona Vistas. In Fusionopolis, there's One North MRT stations, but they do not have any train stations in Mediapolis. So every day people need shuttle bus services either from Biopolis or Fusionopolis to Mediapolis. And that's why we actually implement a shuttle bus, so-called shuttle bus services to move around here in this area. So it's still on data collections. We still do not really have a public trial right now yet, because we basically focus on the safety. But hopefully by next year or by early 2018, we are able to ferry people around. So technical opportunities. So what does it take for you to become an autonomous vehicles engineers, and why we actually spend only 1 year of developments and we are able to achieve that? That's because of our experience. So 10 years ago, this is a robotic system I did 10 years ago. We did it from scratch. But what I'm trying to show in terms of the technologies is that the robot starts to localize itself. So the robot needs to know where it is. And then what we do right now is, and then we start to do the path planning of the robots, right? So the robots needs to know where it is, and it starts to plan how it should go. And then, of course, if you look at all the mechatronic systems, that's where we learn how to control the vehicles. So basically, that is the basic of me as a robotic engineer, and this is what we need for the autonomous vehicles. Yeah, that's me. That we very much younger. So I think what we do initially is that we try to convert the mechanical vehicles into drive-by-wire vehicles, which is where we put actuators on the steering wheels and the brake and accelerators. We start to do software. So we add on sensors like LiDAR sensors, cameras, and radars. That's where we start to develop algorithms for pedestrian detections, path planning, obstacles avoidance. So we start small, and then we start bigger. So when your vehicles is bigger, you need more complex sensors. It looks like there's quite a few sensors, right? But the three main sensors that we're using is LiDARs, radars, and cameras. And then we start to look at the drive-by-wire systems. So you can see that what we do is, this is actually a demonstration of a Logitech steering wheel controlling of vehicles. So that is the first step we have to do, the mechatronic systems. And then when we are able to do it with the mechatronic systems, the middlewares, or on the communications with the sensors, we start to look into localizations. We created 3D maps. So basically, the first things, important is that in the urban environments, we need to have accuracies about 5 centimeters. So what we do is we use LiDAR-based map to do a 3D map. And then with the 3D maps, that's where we start to do localizations. So you can see that basically these circles represents the GPS. Why we need 3D map localizations is when you go to a high-rise buildings, basically the GPS coordinates actually goes haywire. So in the urban environments, if they give you a wrong localizations, basically your path planning is wrong, and basically your cars will have accidents on this. And then we move on with the perceptions. So what we do is we use cameras and LiDAR-based sensors where we start to do traffic light detections. So the dark frame is for traffic light detections, and then the bright frames for vehicles. State of art is that we're maybe moving on to the deep learning so we can understand the vehicles more. I'm moving a bit faster because I'm out of time. So we use LiDAR-based. So LiDAR is perfect is because it's high precisions. You know, we are able to do pedestrian detections. We are able to do tracking so that we are able to predict where the pedestrians is going. And then with localizations and navigations, that's localization and perceptions, that's where we start to on the navigations. So we look into, because we always are very cautious about safety, so we create our own 3D map. So basically our 3D map simulates our algorithms, simulates our sensors algorithms, just to make sure that the systems is working quite fine. And then before we put the real test onto the hardwares and onto the road. So we comes with the software in the loop for testing 24/7, and then we start with the hardwares in the loop. So what's next? So basically right now our vehicles are doing public trial, but we find that we need more sensors in order to make it safer. But that is not the solutions. What we need is how to create algorithms to reduce the usage of the sensors. So basically that is our goal. We're looking into intelligent fleet management because we're looking into the bus, right? So we need to know how we can get big data, and with the big data, how to do adaptive fleet management, intelligence fleet management. And of course, another challenge is that all our sensors right now, we are using is very expensive. How are we able to achieve of running your software, let's say into embedded systems like FPGAs? How do you use more low-cost sensors so that when people ask you how much does it take to convert our vehicles to autonomous vehicles, we just say it's about $5,000. That's basically our goals, or what's next, what we want to do. So thank you very much. I hope I'm still in time. So yeah, if there's any questions, please ask. Thank you.